Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today I'm going to be listening through a few tracks from an act named Gramphix off of their self-titled Gramphix EP. And if we switch over to here, we've got it on Spotify. There's 4 of these tracks. I'm going to be listening through 3 of them today. We're going to be listening through them in the order of I Need You, Let Us to the Wind, and Never Again. So without further ado, we're going to start with I Need You and listen through the others, 2 others as well. We're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Oh, that's nice and dreamy, isn't it? Nice panning there. I like the crispness of the ride tones. Production's actually pretty solid, to be honest. Lovely vocal harmonies. I'm liking these siren cool higher melodies we have with the guitars and the ride work there, sounding nice and fresh, nice and steady, kind of like a slow dance, kind of reminds you a little bit of Dream Pop or something like that. Good vocal tuning. We're not really wanting to sit still with a set sort of melodic motif, are we? We're constantly experimenting with these different melodic sequences here, harmonizing nicely up in that higher range there. The bass is nice and resonant in the mix and supports it really well. Nice tom work here as well. That's a nice change in between those cymbal parts. Could be some hand drums or something like that, though, to be fair. Nice bit of space in there as well, just to allow you to appreciate the musicality of it. It's so gentle. It is a love song, you know. Speaking of not being able to be away from someone, the distance being excruciating, they're losing their mind because of it. The overall coloration of it is intriguing, you know. It sort of seems almost mystical with these higher synth and guitar parts and everything. I can't tell if there's inverted guitar parts or there's been some violining involved. By violining, I mean like not literal violins, but like the volume pot being rotated to avoid the short attack of a guitar string being played. Oh, nice bit of sizzle there. Smart move. Nice repetition of that hook line there to keep it stuck in the person's head. Good move. It's pretty solid distorted tone, to be honest. It's nice to have a bit of a dynamic range as well with the vocals there. I think it's sitting well. You know, you can hear it even when it's quiet. That's testament to the mastering side of things, I think. Cool solo section. Because I mean, this is nearly 5 minutes long. You kind of do need something like a little bit additional or like a different sort of lead melody or texture there just to carry across the finish line. Especially once you understand what the track is about and get that point, you know, that point. Nice reverb delay change in there. Slides are gorgeous. Yeah, change in groove on the 16th triplets on the hi-hat. Are we fading out? Oh, great finish there. This is distorted by the kind of more somber percussion there. You know, we're not trying to get a super duper punchy kind of clicky kick or anything like that. It's more of a thud, more like a heartbeat, you know what I mean? It's great. I Need You is a good start, you know, it's clear what the story is about. Great introduction to these guys in regards to their vocal abilities and the way the rest of them have a fantastic chemistry with those synth guitar, bass, and drum parts. Sick. We've got Letters to a Wind next. Okay, this is a different vibe, you know. This is a different vibe. It's a bit quick, a bit more intense. Got that kind of punk rock kind of vibe to it, that early 2000s kind of groove to it. Okay. I'm just like less hearing out the story before I comment on it too much. We've got a similar consistency to the guitars, the rhythm guitars, the bass, and the drums in this. The vocals sort of singing over top of it in a different sort of like that upper range there. It's stacked nicely in the frequency spectrum. Easier to mix that way, isn't it? It's nice to have that kind of break there with the palm muted guitar parts and the drum part doing a fill there as well. Everything's in sync and unison. Interesting inflection there at the end, get a little bit of a rise there. Yeah, great bit of vocal fry there as well. It's a nice development on what we had previously. Like, we might have had the vocal fry here, but it's definitely more noticeable in this position. Oh, a complete groove change. That's fun. I wasn't expecting this. Kind of gives you a sense of their flexibility as musicians, as songwriters. Great harmonized riffs here. Give me some Protester Hero kind of vibes at the moment. Fighter beyond, you can't see my crown, it's got time to overcome. I'm alive, no matter how you try. Can't stop me, Alcatraz is where I reside. New terms, new rules, my turf, fight choose. Do it as something, know you have to. My struggle, my pain, my thoughts, my ego aside. Erase, replace before the strings divide. I'm father's pride, I'm mother's pride. You must decide, Oh, cool. Nice introduction back to that section there. It was also pretty dope to have that rapping part. I mean, with the intro track, the first impression, you kind of want to get an understanding of the scope of their ambition. And I think that's a good sort of, at the very least, is a good indication of what the vocalist is able to do. But I also have to show respect to the other musicians involved for their technical ability as well. I think everyone's kind of on par, and again, there's a great chemistry between the members. A little bit of change there, smart move. I'm getting some of it. I'm getting some of the lyrics in here. I'm hearing the parts of Let Us the Winds and releasing me from this gypsy curse and burning in despair or something like that. I'm hearing parts of it. I haven't gotten all of it. But that's okay. I think I'm getting at least some of the story from it. Like when the guy takes a bit more time to like communicate, when the words take a little bit longer to come out, you know, they're a little bit easier to understand. That rapping section was difficult to take everything, and I think it's just because there's a lot of information, you know. It's not a mark against his ability as a rapper or as a vocalist. And it's just done. His Letters in the Wind. I mean, like, the image of Letters to the Wind. I'm assuming that, like, they're trying to sort of, like, scream out whatever they're needing to. And they're trying to stop the curse of constantly being berated by this and trying to figure out, like, whether it's worth continuing with that or not. I'm not sure. I'm not as strong about this one as I was previously with Letters to the Wind. With I Need You. But nonetheless, I think, like, at least from a musical standpoint, I thoroughly appreciated what was going on with this track. It was explorative. I feel like it would have been kind of sad to have just had the distorted guitar kind of bum, 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 sort of palm, power chordy kind of bit going on there. I'm glad we had the triplet part coming in the second section of the song, late second section. And then to return to that original musical motif, that theme there, that refrain was a smart move as well. I'm glad we came back to where we started. Lots of charisma and energy within these performances here so far. Really easy to sort of absorb and listen to their music. And I think this is their first EP, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a great first impression for Gramphix in regards to their self-titled EP. I only assume there'll be other great things to come. But we've got a Never Again, which is the final track we'll listen to today. Let's go. Oh, nice reverb tail on those guitars. What is this one about, though? It's a completely different vibe to what we have with Letters to the Wind and what we had with I Need You. I'm wondering if they're exploring individual concepts here and they're just trying to give the width of their range, or whether it was just. Well, I assume that would probably be it. Wouldn't it? Again, nice work turning the vocals here into more of a melodic lead instrument rather than a storytelling device. It's a nice contrast, even if it's in the middle of the hook section. If you've already had the story being told, you can allow yourself just to layer that on top. Oh, cool fill there. Oh, we're breaking it up a little bit. That's kind of fun. We've got a neoclassical kind of vibe with those lead guitar parts. I gotta raise my glass to kiss my ass. Nice. What do you do when you've lost your way and you've got nothing to lose? So is this talking about someone with the whiskey? Is it talking about someone struggling with like drinking or something like that and running out of options and the desperation that is related to that? Is it a toast to their desolation? Great dynamic range to this. Nice to go down low in the low frequency, see with the kicks and bass. Haven't really focused much on the snare tone here. The snare's sounding nice and fresh, dude. Full sounding. Sounds like your own proper acoustic recording, which is pretty slick. Nice offbeat root here on the open hi-hats. Oh, we're speeding it up. This is the kind of thing that'd be fun in a live situation. I think that this album translates well to both. I'm wondering what the point of that was. Like, it sounds cool. I was thinking it would potentially lead to a new section, but to return back to that lead part, I mean, you could have potentially had like the lead guitar slowly fading into it or something like that. Like, just to kind of sort of like show that you were kind of going back into that main motif. It just seems we kind of like build it up, speed it up, you know, kind of split it up. And it was a nice drum fill at the end. I think I knew what they were going for there. I was straight back into the chorus. You could have potentially had like backing vocals on either side, just sort of like elevated and just give a little bit of extra kind of like sassiness to the last chorus. Solo section. So we've had two verses, two choruses, and then we've had like an interlude going back into the chorus. Now we've had a solo section. I mean, it's explorative. I like the personality behind it. Okay, I mean, like, I'm happy with it. I like the fact that we had that instrumental outro there. I think we had as much of the vocals as we needed in order to understand the story and to color it correctly. And then you just had the rest of the instruments like the bass, guitar, and drums carrying it along and keeping it sounding interesting until the end. Because that's effectively the end of the EP, right? The Gramphix EP. And by virtue of that, that's effectively the conclusion. The conclusion for my review of the Gramphix EP by Gramphix. I reviewed I Need You, Letters to the Wind, Never Again. Interesting stuff. I think, again, in regards to the story-wise, I Need You was about someone struggling without that other person that they need by them. Maybe there's a sense of codependency or something like that, but it wasn't pretty. Letters to the Wind was about someone struggling to get their like message out and struggling to get to where they need to be, and like a gypsy curse, like it's just a real terrible situation that they're in and trying to figure out if it's worth continuing or not. And then Never Again, I think it was about someone being at their lowest point, whether because of a vice or something like that, and just struggling with the overall situation they're in and, you know, asking what another person would do in their place. And I think that these are interesting stories that got told by a singer who clearly has a lot of passion and energy and charisma again for what they're doing there. There was no point where the singing wasn't interesting. It wasn't just that we hit the notes correctly, and we had these little kind of interesting inflections where we go like this, look, like this, what, like that kind of I don't know how to sort of do that. I haven't really heard singers do that specific kind of thing before. And if that's their kind of vibe, that's great. We emoted, I think, appropriately for the subject matter that we're talking about. We elevated in the chorus sections and where it was necessary, but we came down for the other parts. We need to be a little bit more sort of chilled out as well. We didn't just do the melodic or harmonic stuff as well. Again, we had rapping and Letters to the Wind as well in the triplet section. I take that. I do. I like that everyone was having fun in this. Despite the intensity of the subject matter, I think that there was a nice balance and an equilibrium stage thematically with the rest of the other stylistic and sort of more emotive parts of the arrangement. I think it's great. You know, the structures of the tracks were interesting. I think I Need You had a traditional sort of verse chorus structure. There was some instrumental parts in there in the intro and outro for some of these tracks. There were some solo sections as well, which were great to listen to. Letters to Wind had an entirely different B section where it went into that swing triplet part where we had some rapping, which was kind of fun. So that was more through composed, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure we had verses and chorus, and then the Never Again. It was wild, man. We had like A, B, C, and then back to that chorus, and then we had like a solo, and then like an instrumental outro. And it was classy and intriguing and unpredictable, and I kind of adore it for that. The instrumental performances from the guitar, bassist, drummers, and vocalists, and then other bits of coloration in I Need You, were, in regards to the synths and stuff, were well played and well thought out and well considered. The phrasing of the solo sections and the guitar parts, especially in tracks like Never Again, there was space for you to sort of be able to absorb and reminisce with that melody there. There was some freneticism there and some energy there, especially with the tremolo picked parts, but it never became too much. The drums they went between like sort of ride grooves to some tom fills to some tom ride bits, and then had the typical kind of kick, snare, hi-hat bits coming like with Letters to the Ring, that kind of punk rock kind of elements. But we also showed that we had some diversity and various influences under our belt with the swing rhythms and other bits and the triplet parts. And, bass was always nice and supportive of the other elements in the mix. A bit explorative at times, but they knew exactly where they needed to be, and they held that fort there really well. Anything else that was in there sort of acted as a sub-layer and elevated it, I think, in the middle or the sides of the stereo field. And the production, the recording, mixing, mastering was splendid. You know, it's a really well-produced album. The EQing and the recording quality of the individual elements themselves was nice and was pristine. I dig the way that they did that. I don't know whether they did it in a studio or a live situation, but either way, it was great. The stereo panning of the stuff was fantastic. The music surrounded you in the headphones. The limiting compression of the various tracks was fantastic, and it was nice and loud without doing too much. It sounded like it was released by a well-to-do independent label, and I think that this is a really good shot for Gramphix. I think they've got a real good chance of making something special occur. I hope that they can continue to record and produce. Sorry, that was like a mixture of record and produce music in future that is to this caliber or higher. It'll be interesting to see where these guys go in future. I wish them the best luck. It's a big world out there, but I think they have the chance if they continue to do stuff like this. It's great music. The studio side of things is sorted. And the stories and the people responsible for them and communicating them are really, really great to listen to. But that is effectively my review of Gramphix's self-titled EP, the Gramphix EP. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show Gramphix some love via their various social medias and the Spotify page. Stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support local musicians and artists at this point in time, as either help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.